There are a lot of ways that you could give loot out to your guild. You could use things like soft reserve, DKP, GDKP, but I always think that loot council is the absolute best system. There's just a couple issues. It does rely on you having a large level of accountability for the people who are actually making the loot decisions. I think the easiest way to accomplish that is to simply have a really small loot council. If it's only one guy on loot council, it would be very hard not to be held accountable. Even if you were the dictator in your guild and you made literally every decision, hey, everybody would know that you're the one who picked who got what. Now, as for, let's say you already have some level of accountability, some level of trust, what are ways to decide who gets the loot? What kind of things make sense at being fair? Now, remember, fair is kind of a stupid word. What really matters is what are the objectives of the people allocating the loot. Usually those objectives align with the members of the raid, at least ideally they do. But here's some ideas I have on how to keep everybody happy in my guild when it comes to loot council. There are some items that are good. You could think Perdition's Blade. This is a really nice item. Or even Spinal Reaper. I think that this is a really nice item. But then there are other pieces that have a lot more staying power. I would say something like Onslaught Girdle, but you could also talk about things like Quick Strike Ring, and of course, Magmadar, we have Striker's Mark. Now, I think items like this are in kind of a league all of their own, where they have a lot of power in the current phase. They're obviously BIS, but they're arguably BIS later on in the game, and that's what I think makes them super important. Whereas a piece such as these Flame Guard gauntlets, like, yes, it's a very good piece, especially right now, or something even like this OEB, but they just aren't going to be a big deal in, I don't want to say a short time, but, in a couple phases. Brutality Blade's another item that you could put in this kind of middling powerful for a short time group of items. And then there's the slop. You have things like the Sabatons of the Flame Walker, a tier for, well, this is showing sod stuff, but tier for the vast majority of classes in the game. It's just really not all that hot. How are you going to make everybody happy? And kind of what I'm thinking is that for certain pieces that have insane staying power, like the Onslaught Girdle, Quick Strike Ring. I'm going to even include Bone Reaver's Edge in this. I think if you get one of those pieces, you should probably not be eligible to receive any of the mid-level pieces for the rest of the phase, basically. So if you were to get, let's say, a BRE, there'd be no chance you could get, for example, an Onslaught or a Band of Acuria, of course, but you couldn't even get something like this Dragon's Blood Cape unless nobody else wanted it. Granted, with a piece like this, you could probably get it quite easily, but maybe Crown of Destruction would be a better example if, for some reason, you didn't have a Lionheart. Remember, this is the sod statistics, so this is better than a Lionheart, maybe in the regular game. Anyways, that would be the general idea. So if you want to do as much damage as possible in the current phase, you probably wouldn't actually want to receive one of these pieces unless it was maybe a Perdition's Blade. But if you did want to do as much damage as possible, and the guild had a loot council policy like this, maybe a piece like Brutality Blade would be right up your alley, because you could receive this and, I don't know, Flame Guard gauntlets. That seems pretty fair to me, that somebody could end up with this piece and the Flame Guards in the same vase, and somebody else ends up with just a BRE. But it's hard to keep everybody happy, and I'm definitely going to have to make sure that I go and talk to all the individuals in my guild to see if enough of them have enough ways to be made happy. It's strange to actually put that into words, but I hope that you understand what I mean. I'm really wondering how the loot assignment meta and I'd say pug scene is going to work out, since, for a actual guild, you can just worry about things like this, and you don't have to be thinking, well, how's this going to affect people wanting to join my group in the first place? But now I guess SR is going to be the only option available for pug raid groups. SR kind of scares the crap out of me as a raid leader, because unlike in a GDKP where the more that time passes in the run, the more a raider's time is worth, basically, because you want to actually get one to the pot being distributed. Whereas in a soft reserve, it's quite possible that for your class, role, or whatever, that at a certain point in the run, you receive all the information you need to decide if you need to immediately leave, assuming you're some kind of psycho and you don't want to stick up with the social contract in the game, which people do act on incentives like this all the time. Like, I wonder what's going to happen to PvPers who want to go to Pugs. You'll probably not be able to get your hands on a BRE. It'll be hard reserved almost all the time, I would think, along with Onslaught Girdle. Maybe I'm wrong about that, though. Maybe some raid leaders don't care about those items, and it'll be like a mage looking for Mage Blade. Not sure. I definitely think any of this, just talking about loot and the systems and how it's going to impact people's decisions, I think it's fantastic. It's super fun. If you're looking for a guild, this is it. Control Freak, NA Ally. I think we're on Night Slayer. Anyways, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.